The only thing on my brain this week is I need a goddamn haircut now that the Eagles Super Bowl parade is over and I can no longer jinx the team. So I'm feeling good about that.
It looks borderline. Like, what is that? Is that a perm? It looks
Dude,
permed back there.
no, it's just the longer my hair gets, the curlier it gets. It becomes an absolute nightmare to keep up with. So it's got to go. It's going on Friday.
I'm going for the flow. I'm getting the flow back. That's my goal. But you're not down for the perm look. All right, cool.
No.
Hey, I support either way.
Bros and shows. I gotta have me my bros and shows. Bros and shows. Bros and shows. I gotta have me my bros and shows.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Bros and Shows. I'm your co-host, Steele Russell, joined as always by the one and only Shooter McPerm. I don't have any creative.
Yeah, you've got no creative juices. That's okay. I think what we should do is we should do this entire episode in reverse in honor of Tom Sandoval for his remarkable performance at today's challenge.
Dude, that's what I was saying. I think I'll be the one to do it because everyone's tiptoeing around it. People are talking about it. People are giving him flowers. Sandoval's officially over. He ended it with Traitors. He is now through the woods of Sandoval. He did it. Nobody saw it coming. It took him singing lullabies. No, he's out. He did it.
What do you mean? Wait, so you think nothing of the statement that he made at the roundtable that threw him right back in?
No, I mean, yeah, that was not great. He was close. You're right. And then the comment that, girls are more likely to cheat. And he's like, I mean, traitors. That did send him back a little bit. But against all odds, people are rooting for Tom Sandoval again. And it's because of his crazy singing. It's because he was the only one that bought into that challenge. I have a lot to say about that when we get there. But at the end of the day, somehow, some way, by being on the Traitors, and we were talking so much shit before he was on there that we can't wait to see Sandoval. He's going to be an idiot. And yes, he's an idiot, but he's a delightful idiot that is so entertaining to watch week to week that you have people making TikToks of their boyfriends that are watching along with them. And they're like, oh, you can't like Tom. And they're like, wait, what? There's something wrong with Tommy. And then they go into Sandoval. They're like, oh, shit. He's like a fan favorite. Who the fuck would have seen this coming?
Yeah, he's definitely a fan favorite for the non-Bravo watchers out there, the people that are just kind of tagging along, whether they just enjoy a good game show or they're Big Brother, Survivor people, whatever it might be. We've been talking about it the whole season. He got to a point with me where I was enjoying watching him because he was such an idiot and it was really funny to me. And then he kind of wore on me for a bit and I wore a little thin. I wanted him out of there. I wanted him out of there last week. And then if he was out last week, we wouldn't have gotten this week. So I don't know. It's a constant roller coaster of emotions from episode to episode when it comes to Tom. Look, he might win the whole thing, and that would be the funniest thing.
Dude, could you imagine if Sandoval at the end of all of this is the one that takes home the cash? Like he would, there's no way. That would be insane. I don't know, dude. I like I said, I'm going to say something, and I never thought I would say it. And yeah, he beat Sandoval somehow. Who the fuck would have thought?
He needs to pay all those, I'm sure he owes all those landscapers money because that's what he was complaining about a couple years ago. So he's probably got some IOUs floating around out there. And this could pay it. This could help. Although,
for the good IOU,
they're going to need to start doing some shit to get some money because it seems like every challenge, and we'll talk about this challenge in a bit, every challenge, the first thing that they think about is, well, we got to get a shield. You need to get money. You need to make sure you get all the money. And they still do prevail. It's either the weirdest time lapse where they want us to think they're not doing anything, but in reality, they're spending 90% of the time actually doing the challenge. Because I am of some sort of conviction that they are not doing anything until the last 2 seconds, and then somehow they come up with all the money. So I don't know. It's the editing. I'm going to place it all on editing. I'm calling it bad editing.
Yeah. I think that you're claiming bad edit. You're pulling a Bravo card. I don't know if it's bad edit. I do blame the editing. I don't think it's bad, but yeah. All right. I had to do this all on my laptop, so my notes are on the side of the screen, which is actually more distracting than I thought it would be.
I thought it'd be better, like more efficient.
Yeah, so did I. That could be too. I'm just that tired that I can't read that fast. But hey, let's dive into this episode, and we start out at breakfast, the usual routine, and Danielle's the first one in there. And it might be biased at this point because I just don't like her. but it seems so obvious to me that she's a traitor. Like, she's always the first one to bring up the conversation. She's sitting there talking to Britney, and I know Britney's her girl, so Britney doesn't suspect her. But it's just, she always is the one to initiate conversations about certain things.
Mhm.
Like, she brings up Boston Rob immediately, starts talking about him. And in my head, I'm like, she's so clearly a traitor. And again, Monday morning quarterback, watching at home. But go to a confessional, Brittany's like, I'm pretty certain that Danielle is a faithful. Like, I got full trust in Danielle. I'm like, oh, all right, so she got the wool pulled over your eyes, I guess. But
Yeah, Britney definitely did, and there's something to be said for them kind of rekindling something or squashing the beef that they had from Big Brother, whatever it might be, that maybe blocking Britney's eyes, because that's really all I feel like you need to figure out that Danielle's a traitor. And it is really weird because I watched this live on Thursday night. We're recording this a little bit later than we usually do, so I did have to dig back in and make sure that I don't miss anything. And I'm looking, just kind of like skipping through the episode, remembering things, looking on socials. People on Twitter are backing Danielle up, saying she's playing a really good game
no,
every
she's
time
not.
that somebody. That's what I think. But there is something to be said for when the people who get banished, whether it's the round table or they're murdered overnight, when they are given the envelope that says who each traitor is, they're always surprised that it's Danielle, except for like one or two. I think
They're
Jeremy was
surprised
onto
that it's
her, but that was it.
Carolyn.
Yeah, they're always surprised that it's Carolyn. They were never surprised it was Boston Rob. But Danielle is another one, and Ciara too. Ciara, who we thought, she got a little cloudy towards the end, but she had to defend herself the entire time. She was really surprised too. And there's people on Twitter talking about how Danielle's actually playing a good game, and she shouldn't worry about the haters, is what they're saying. It's like, no, like
No,
it
she's
just
just
seems.
not.
And we'll talk about what she does at the end of this episode, which is another dumbass move. But it seems like every time that Danielle has to make a decision, whether it's on her own or in the turret, she makes the wrong one. So
That's
I
what I
don't
feel
understand
like.
how you can sit there and say that she's doing a good job or playing a good game, because I just don't believe it.
I don't either. I think that a big part of why she's successful, I think that these faithfuls are idiots too. Like,
Mhm.
that's my big. I don't think
I
any.
think that's the big takeaway. They're all idiots.
Yeah, like, nobody's playing a good game right now. One
No.
person gave me hope and then immediately struck it down, and we'll get to that. But to my point with Danielle, everyone thinks she's playing a good game. She's starting to get pointed at by multiple people in the house. And yeah, she's
Mhm.
gotten pretty far before the speculation has been thrown at her. But this episode, I think 4 or 5 people start to point towards her. So I think at the end of the day, I don't think it's good gameplay. I really don't.
Right.
I think
Yeah,
that
me
you have a
neither.
bunch of idiot faithfuls and a clumsy traitor. I think Carolyn's the only one that's been doing this game right. And I want to give Dylan credit, but he always cozies up to traitors, but he catches himself at the end of this one. So I don't want to throw him under the bus too much. But if I had to, like, let's do that. If I had to pick, I think the only 2 people right now that I would say are successfully playing the game are Carolyn and Dylan. Honestly, I can't
Carolyn,
think of anyone else.
Dylan.
I'm like,
I'm gonna
yeah.
throw Gabby in there too, because Gabby is
Oh yeah,
wildly
okay.
entertaining and she's good. She seems
I'll
like
take that.
she has an idea of what's going on, which is really all you need for a game like this. Everybody else is just running around like chickens with their head cut off. Like, they
Yep.
never know what's going on. Anytime that somebody gets voted out, whether they're a traitor or a faithful, they have the same reaction. Fuck, what do we do next? Like, they never have a plan. There's never anything in there. They're still, and we'll talk about it at the round table, they're still talking about the coffins from, for us, it's 5 weeks ago. For them, it's 2 or 3 nights ago. So it's this crazy thing where it's like, yeah, I get you have to try to put something to bed, but like, you haven't done anything. And that was something that the traders set up. So there
Mhm.
is no real faithful strategy here. And that's where they keep
That's
getting
it.
stuck. And that's where I keep pointing to, well, they're just a bunch of idiots with no leader. And then once
Correct.
somebody steps up to try to be a leader, they're going to think they're a traitor anyway. So it's a zero sum game for everybody out there. And I feel like all of the big game players that they kind of put on the cast that we were like, oh shit, this could be cutthroat, this could be cool, they got cut, they got murdered, or they got banished immediately. So it's just we're left with a pile of idiots. That's what we have.
That's what I think. That being said, love the show.
Oh,
Thoroughly
it's
enjoying
entertaining as
every
hell.
second
Yeah.
of it. Yeah. But gameplay wise, I don't think it's great. And then at the breakfast, Sam speaks up for like the first time.
Yeah,
And
I know.
I'm like, oh, because he's
Did you like his preface too, where he goes to his confessional? He's like, "Look, I'm very quiet. I'm from Iran. I had to figure out how to speak English, and I spent a lot of time listening, and that's what I've been doing. And now I'm ready to strike." It's like, whoa, Were you a wild card this whole time? Like, this
No,
is
he's not.
insane. And
But
he's
he
not.
makes you
He just
think
had
he
one
is.
good idea. He had one good idea, and then it's like, dude.
Well, he had two because he starts out by telling the table, he's like, I don't think these traitors are as smart as they think they are. And or that as smart as we think they are. And I was like, I agree with you. Whoa, nice job, Sam. And then he comes up with this theory because who comes in?
It was Tom.
Because Tom walks in and he's asking him about the night. And he's like, oh, I turned around and I looked down and I saw these like crazy shoes. And I was like, no one else would wear those except for Alan. And Sam takes that and develops a theory. He's like, oh, well, if we ask everyone else that comes in that was in the church that night, what was Alan wearing? That's how we can deduce who a traitor is, because the traitors may not have seen Alan. I'm like, that's genius. Sam came to play. Hell yeah. Let's go, Sam. I'm like, Team Sam for all of 5 minutes. People start piling in. And the funniest part is before Tom got there, a lot of people are nervous for Tom. They're on a roller coaster with this guy as well. It's very funny to watch the Sandoval effect.
I saw a podcast where I think it was Carolyn and Britney were on this podcast talking about Tom and if they liked him or not. Apparently, he was trying to get the car on the way back from challenges to play his band for the rest of the car.
Stop.
Yeah.
Sam was or Sandoval?
Sandoval.
Oh, I thought you said Sam.
No, I don't know if Sam's
in a very long day.
Sam could be in a band, to be fair.
I wouldn't be.
No, Sandoval and the most extras. He's trying to get them some airtime. He probably did think that they would play it on Peacock and maybe he would get his band some airtime, which would be hilarious, but they would never do that. I just love that he's trying to push his band on other people. Like, that is who he is.
He was texting Jason like, dude, I'm totally going to get us on the show.
Oh my God.
Jason's like, oh yeah, hell yeah, brother. But Carolyn made me nervous. When she walked in, I'm like, ah, shit. The good thing about Carolyn is because she's been so consistent in seeming inconsistent and being kind of like, oh my God, like what the hell's going on? Because she's like that, Sam's like, tell us what you saw. And she's just like, I'm like, fuck no, not like this. For whatever reason, Sandoval saves the day and steps in. He goes, well, he was wearing a kilt. And Sam's like, you fucking moron. Like, I was asking her for a reason. Gabby steps in and goes, well, that was like a pass or fail, but like, come on, guys. Like, she passed. I'm like,
I guess her real response was something only Alan could wear. And it was like, all right, it's very generalized, but also if you don't understand fashion and you don't understand what Alan's wearing at any given time, which, sometimes he does wear some crazy shit, that could pass. That might pass. But the best is Tom being the buffer. He saves the day for Carolyn. We don't have to go after Carolyn later at all because Tom speaks up because he felt bad or he wanted to explain more. He didn't get enough talk time.
I think that he just wanted a moment. I don't even think it had anything to do with Carolyn. He's just like, I know
he had a couple of moments at this breakfast.
Oh, it was insane. But it's like he wanted to be the kid in class that answers the question. Like, I know. It's like, we know, Tom, shut up.
We know, Tom. We just asked you.
You did this already. But we find out that Chriselle has been whacked. She's been killed. And I will say it was nice that Chriselle recognizes the game that Carolyn's playing, because I feel like no one else has really given her props up until this point. And we have been watching her do a pretty good job with this whole thing. But Tom jumps in and starts talking shit about Chriselle. And I think Brittany's like, well, yeah, dude, obviously you're going to take shots at her, because he's like, no, man, like that's not what it is at all. I'm like, Sandoval's still in there. I'm getting duped by his idiot charm. I don't even know what you want to call it.
The good thing is we don't have to watch him on Vanderpump, so we don't have to worry about any of that. So if we see him in these one-off shows that we have to watch and he's like this, that's fine. I'm good with that. But you can tell, and based on his speech that he gave in the church the night before, where he's talking about how he finally feels like he's vindicated, he's proven himself because he got Boston Rob. He didn't get Boston Rob. 3 other people helped. He was just the most outspoken. But either way, he is now feeling like he's vindicated. So that's the part of Tom that's coming back out. The part of Tom that he suppressed, and he would only talk about it with, his bandmates like Jason, or in the mirror to himself, as I imagine he does.
Oh, definitely.
That's where he's coming out now. So we're going to start to see that maybe by the end of the show, because he's probably going to be standing at the very end. We'll probably see the real Tom Sandoval again.
I think so, but like his demeanor, even at that breakfast when he walked in, he's like, "I can't believe I'm here," and he's like smiley and chatty, and
Hmm.
it's strange to see. We haven't seen that out of him in I don't know 2 fucking years.
Well, he thought he
Plus,
was a threat. He figured he was a threat and he was going to get murdered that night.
yeah, I know that's so funny. That's so funny to me. But we get the mission. Everyone comes, or Alan comes in, and we get the mission for the day, and he's dropping subtle hints. He's like, "Go outside and do it quick. Be a doll," and clearly. Quite clearly, the clue there is be a doll.
Hmm.
Sandoval's like, do it quick. Then Sam's like, no, dickhead, be a doll, be a doll. He's like, oh, right.
Here's the
Totally.
other thing is though, like when he's giving hints, do the hints really matter? Like, oh, it's gonna be
No, you're gonna
dolls.
find out
Cool.
shortly.
You're not gonna, yeah, who cares? So
Yeah, I don't know.
that just shows like how stupid everybody is too, because they're all like, oh my god, what is the mission gonna be? Something with dolls. Let's start thinking about dolls. Who's got experience with dolls? And it's like, what are you guys doing? You have
Yeah,
no
I don't
idea what
know.
this is gonna be. This could be anything. This isn't Survivor. This isn't Big Brother. You don't have to figure this out. It is going to be what it is, and you might not even be on the mission. You might be back at the castle as we see it a little bit. So I love that they're trying to sit there and figure out, like sleuth through, and then Tom is still so far behind. Do it
Yeah.
quickly. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, that's what it was, Tom.
Go quick.
It's going to be a
Right.
speed run.
Nice. All right. I'm fast. I think I'm fast. That's why I have lightning bolts all over myself. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I've got a great running form. I think everybody saw me running in the forest earlier this week.
Elbows out, baby. Elbows out. High stepping through the woods. But
Aerodynamic Tom. That's what they call me.
Arrow Tom. Oh, actually, that's not
That actually
horrible.
works. Yeah.
Yeah, but everyone's outside. We're playing some classic castle games, right? Croquet, badminton. What else do you do?
Pretty much it.
I don't
Polo.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need
What
some
else would be a
horses.
castle game?
Mm,
Jousting, perhaps. That would have been fun to watch. Maybe that should
perhaps.
be. Ooh, that's a
Oh,
challenge.
skeet shooting. Skeet shooting is probably.
Oh, there you
good.
go. That's probably that's a big one. Yeah, nice job.
Yeah.
That would be a
Yeah.
fun one to watch too. Maybe we'll get that.
Yeah, can't trust these people with guns. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
probably not. Probably not. Big twist. Traitor actually kills somebody with shotgun. Danielle turns
Oh,
gun
God.
on Carolyn and wins. No,
Ugh.
everyone's speculating right now. And this is like what we've gotten used to is the in-between, the mission, everything. Everyone's speculating. So the big things that people are talking about, the big people, we got Danielle is being mentioned multiple times. Tom brings her up to Carolyn. And, Carolyn is playing for herself because she's got no other reason not to. So she does tell Tom, he's like, what happened between you and Danielle? And obviously Danielle was trying to set up Carolyn the other day. It makes Carolyn look bad if she
Yeah.
defends Danielle at this point. So she just kind of tells him without throwing her under the bus entirely. But the main focuses are, like I said, Danielle, Britney's been talked about, but the number one suspect is once again Ciara because Sam, and this is where he lost me. I'm like, he's killing it up until this point. I'm like, this quiet savior has been here this whole time. Like, fuck yeah, Sam. Then he's like, we got to go back to the coffin. I'm like, fuck, no. We've gotten away from the coffin. I thought Ciara was cool. Ciara thinks she's cool. She was all happy
Yeah.
at breakfast. Like, let's not do this again.
That's the type of thing that I feel like you just wait at the end. Like if Ciara's still
Yeah.
lingering around and there's like 3 or 4 people left and you really have no idea, you say the only clue that we have to go off of right now is the coffin. And I can't believe we let it go on for this long. Whatever you want to say.
Sure.
You guys are just at a loss. Anytime that they get a traitor, anytime that they get somebody else out, they're just at a loss. They don't know what to do. They have nothing to go off of. And all they really have to do is just start listening because right now, to be fair, the majority of the people that are putting names out there end up being traitors. Anytime that we're going into a roundtable, it's Boston Rob is leading the charge against somebody. Like, yeah, there's people whispering in corners, but if somebody's actually leading a charge, it's usually a traitor. Danielle did it to Carolyn a couple of days ago. Boston Rob did it about 5 times. Like, how are they not understanding how this is working? They're just sitting back and trying to let things come to them. It's just, there's no proactivity. They're just stuck.
They've been backed into a corner by clumsy work from the traitor. I mean, that's the one thing I'll give them credit for, and that goes back to episode 1 or episode 2 when Rob entered the chat, because he did say, like, we can play the chaos route. I don't want to do that, but we can. The chaos route, for all intents and purposes, is working. I just don't think that that's a winning model, and that's why I'm so skeptical of how they're doing it, because I don't think you can carry that through to the end. I do think it's worked up, and I can't argue that. It has worked. It continues to work because for whatever reason, every faithful keeps focusing on the wrong person, the wrong thing. I think Dylan has some kind of epiphany at the end of this episode where he kind of clicks with them. And he's like, fuck, like we're doing exactly what they want us to at the round table. We're focused on one thing. Dylan even admits he voted for Ciara because he went with the popular vote at the end.
Yeah.
So I think what you're getting is people starting to hopefully finally realize that this is the plan and they need to slow the fuck down and actually do some detective work, because I just don't think that this model is going to get the Traitors a W at the end.
Yeah.
We will see. But Gabby and Ciara are talking, and that's where we point at Britney and Danielle, which I do think there's a lot to be said about that pair.
Yeah.
And again, I just think that Danielle calls too much attention to herself. But at Monday morning quarterbacking, I'm trying to again, not do that too much because we watch at home and overanalyze and we're not on the show. I'm sure it's much more difficult in person, but we get to the mission. Do you have any more speculatory evidence that you would like to submit?
No, I just think that at this point, because, you know, like you said, with Danielle and Brittany, they're just they're too buddy. They're palling around. It looks like they don't have a care in the world. That should put a target on your back. And now that we go through what we go through in this episode, you really have nothing to go off of. So unless something pops up that's very glaring, that's really what you have. Go after Brittany, go after Danielle. There's really nothing else to look at this point. My question to you, this is something weird that I remembered. You remember when they were in the woods and they were rock, paper, scissoring for a shield? And Dylan said, I'm really good at rock, paper, scissors. I actually don't lose this game. He lost. He didn't get on the winning team. He didn't do it.
Good point. That's a good point.
What happened, Dylan? What happened?
Yeah.
You had to stay back at the house with the phone.
Yeah, all that shit talking, huh? Maybe you used to lose to your actor brother, Dylan.
Is he a good actor? I think so.
I think
Zach, great actor.
I think he is. You seen Iron Claw?
Oh yeah.
Is it Iron Claw, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that movie's great. I love that movie. He's a great actor. That was still. Did Bob the Drag Queen come out and say anything about that?
I believe so. Yeah.
He did.
I
Okay.
think I think he changed his course on that one.
All right, good. Poor Zach caught a stray there.
Yeah,
but
it's important.
Let's get to the mission. And lo and behold, we do find out what be a doll means. I know we were all concerned that we were going to have to put that one together, but half of them are going to a house in the woods, a creepy dollhouse. The other half are going to the castle. The ones at the dollhouse have to find a doll that sings a lullaby or a nursery rhyme backwards. You have to repeat that sound through a phone that goes to the castle into what are those things called? I don't
know. I have no idea.
Into a record player. The old school record player.
Record player, sure.
Yeah, with the big like tuba sticking out of it.
Yep.
And then it reverses it. And then when they listen to it, they have to say which one it is. They call back, give it to Alan. Is everyone on the same page with my description? Because if you are, I'm proud of you. I'm confused. But anyway, this was probably my favorite scene. Easily my favorite scene in this show. This is one of my favorite reality TV scenes that I think I've ever watched. I was on the airplane trying not to laugh out loud, and I'm watching it on my phone, like giggling like an idiot, because Sandoval is running around grabbing these dolls. He's outside, and it looks like when you see a singer getting warmed up, and they're like, la, 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 and he's literally trying to sing these songs. And he's the only one focused on the goal because we know that there's a bear hidden amongst the dolls and the bear has the shield. We only have one shield for the players at the dollhouse. My only gripe with the rest of the group, because they're having a grand old time giving Tom Sandoval shit. He's the only one doing the mission. You guys are looking for shields.
I think they were looking for the shield, and then I think that Tom's antics kind of threw them off. They didn't really know what to do. He was standing right at the edge of the doorway with one bear up to his ear, with his other ear completely covered, just singing over the bear. It didn't look like something that was going to ever work. It looked like he was going to fail miserably. But to his credit, he was the only one who was doing anything. Everybody else was smashing dolls on the ground, knocking things over because they were squirting water, which was kind of funny. It was a little really fun
funny, especially
like, hey, don't come over here. Yeah, Ivor. Yeah.
I wrote it down how he said it too, because he gets hit in the back. He goes, "What the fuck?" I wrote, "What the fuuhhk? What the fuck?" It's like, what was
That was
that?
incredible.
That was
Yeah,
good.
and look, I don't think that he expected it, and that's fair. And then he just immediately grabs another doll and knocks it on the ground, and it smashes everywhere because the doll's face was made of porcelain. But Tom was trying really hard. Ivor did another funny thing because Tom finally gets to the phone and starts beatboxing through. That's the best way that I can come up with what the hell he was
Beatboxing?
doing.
Oh,
He was
man.
he was going off of like sounds, but not focusing on the way that like the words could be structured. Like he was just going
What's
instead of being starting it with a B because it ends with a B. Like he wasn't thinking about any of that. He was just
Oh, no.
hoping that it worked.
He's a scat man.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. Tom the Scat Man. That's what we
I'm a
see.
scat man.
Thank God we came to that.
That was
God,
like,
I don't care if
racking
that
my brain.
used like the rest of your brain power for the rest of the night. That was good. Good job.
Yeah, because
proud of you.
it was back here somewhere. I'm like, I know this one. I know this one. You watched
Good.
me. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see my face trying to pull it out. I got there.
He got there.
I'm
It's
toast.
look, it's hard. You got to dig into the depths of Steele's brain and pull that thing out. That's tough.
Yeah,
It's
it's foggy up there. It's real foggy.
But Ivor, after Tom gets it wrong, obviously, for whatever reason, he leaves the doll back at the house and has to run back over so he can go listen to it again. Ivor's just standing there with the phone, and Alan's like, "Who are you calling, Ivor?" He's
he's
like,
don't use my minutes.
I don't know. What am I supposed to do? That was a really funny moment. But yeah, the rest of the crew still looking for the shield and basically just lining up dolls that they think could potentially be lullabies or nursery rhymes backwards and just handing them to Tom. Just like, all right, Tom, it's probably better if one person does this. I don't know. And back at the house was hilarious.
Yeah,
because they had to listen to Tom every single time. And that has to have been infuriating until you get the first one.
100%. And I would love to know if any of our listeners do not know the backstory of Sandoval and like do not know that he wants to be a rock star so bad. And what you saw there was him genuinely thinking that he was killing it. Like that's him locked the fuck in. He's like, I know how to hit these notes. I'm the only one in the whole castle that's musically inclined.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you took from this
line.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal line. But to anybody that doesn't know who he is, like that was all genuine. He actually thinks he's that guy. It was a tremendous scene, and the credit goes to him because once again, you can make fun of him all you want, and everybody else did. The people at the castle were giving him shit. The people at the dollhouse were giving him shit. Without Sandoval, they lose that challenge. Like they don't even come close. But
Ciara finds the shield
by stroke of luck
sitting outside because she was trying to listen to something. But other than that, they would have lost. There was no one else there that would have done it. I couldn't see anyone else actually trying. They were just so lost. For whatever reason, Tom took charge. I don't even think he took charge. He just decided to go out by himself. And once he got one, it got the ball rolling. And everyone else was like, all right, let's just feed Tom. He can do it.
No, that's not what happened.
I think that's what happened.
It is, but it's not. He was so excited to step into that. It's like when you're in like middle school and you're really good at a specific sport and it's like gym class and that's the day they play your sport and you're like, I'm going to show everyone how fucking good I am at this. That was that.
It worked.
He was that kid in gym
and
class.
It worked.
It did. It did.
Undeniably.
100%. But speculation station starts because we're headed shortly to the round table. So obviously on the drive back, people are starting to talk. Ciara still has Britney on her radar. Ivor brings up Ciara once again to Danielle. Danielle obviously agrees. We're not to my least favorite part of Danielle yet. And we'll get there shortly. But that part drove me fucking... Oh, no, I take that back. I skipped over it. Because right before we're going to the challenge, you got half the team going to the castle, half to the dollhouse. They're aware that the 5 that head to the dollhouse will have a chance at a shield. They're not sure how many shields until they get there, but they do know that somebody gets a shield there. So Danielle says, I want to make sure Britney goes to the dollhouse because I want her to get a shield because I don't want Carolyn to get rid of my friend because she's my best friend.
She didn't want Carolyn to know who got the shield. She wanted Carolyn to be on a different team so that she couldn't find out who got the shield, which is insane. Again, this is just traitors not working together. And it's now very clear that Danielle is just trying to bring Britney up, either keep her as a faithful, bring her with her to the end, be friends with her the entire time, or try to recruit her to be a traitor. And she doesn't want Carolyn to be any part of that, which is crazy because you and Carolyn just lived through all of that. Bob the drag
I
queen went
know.
home. You guys got Boston Rob out. You guys should be on the same page at this point. And instead, for whatever reason, I think that if Danielle was authentic and legitimate and just tried to work with Carolyn, it would work so well because
I
Carolyn's
agree.
very good at it. And I don't deny that Danielle could be good if she just tried to play it the right way. Instead, she's still just trying to burn that bridge. And I just don't get it. It's terrible gameplay by a traitor.
I agree. Like we've had 4 traitors total, 2 of which have gone home. You've lost half of your
Mhm.
team. And how did you lose those 2? Via the traitors.
Internally. Yeah.
They have not been whacked by the
Mhm.
faithful yet. So you have cut your numbers in half because you're playing for your friends on the team faithful. That doesn't make any goddamn sense to
Nope.
me.
Not
I
at all.
understand if it's later in the game, sure. If you're trying to set something up for the ending, fine. But you've literally whittled your numbers down to 2 out of 4 because you have a friendship with somebody in this house. That's
Yep.
wacky. That's just stupid. It's dumb
Stupid.
gameplay.
Yep.
But we get to the castle and Sam's still stuck on the coffin thing, which is fucking annoying. And Gabby brings up the partnership between Danielle and Britney. Carolyn is doing what Carolyn usually does, and she's listening. She's listening to everything. And she wants Britney out because she recognizes, and this just goes to show you that Carolyn's playing a better game,
Yep.
an overall game, because her breakdown of the whole thing is, I see Britney's loyalty to Danielle. I see which way this is going. So if Danielle brings Britney on to be loyal to her, I'm the odd man out. They're going to get rid of me. I'm like 1000%. That is preemptive thinking. You are right on the nose, Carolyn. Stick to your guns here, which we'll see later she does. But you get like a last ditch effort from Ciara to defend herself before we get to the actual round table, because we just see people plot. Like I said earlier, you got Britney, Ciara, and Danielle are the 3 most discussed. And Danielle's kind of an afterthought. But Ciara does her best to try to throw everybody off. I actually like this move of going to Ivor and being like, I hear the coffin's coming back up. Like, address it before you get there, because you're, I think if you're Ciara, you have to know, like, you're going to have to put on a performance here or you're getting killed.
Yeah. I think that what we've seen, and I think we've been spoiled by roundtables the last couple of episodes. I think with Boston Rob's presence, with all the other gamers that have gone through, that have had to defend themselves, that I felt like did a pretty good job at defending themselves. And even the people that you try to push it off onto that defend themselves in that regard too. It ends up being
Nikki did a good job.
Yeah, like it seemed like everybody up until now just did a great job at defending themselves. And now this just felt like an onslaught. This was just a nightmare because there was nothing you could do, because there was no good defense. I like Ciara a lot. I think she's great. And we see her in Summer House. It looks like she covered some of her or took some of her skills that she learned at the Traitors and brought them back to Summer House, which is actually kind of fun to see.
Great.
But in this moment and at the round table, she's not good because she sees the writing on the wall. All you're hearing is Britney. You're hearing a little bit of Danielle. You can't split it up. You have to go after one. She's not doing that, but she has nobody on her side, really. Everybody's just kind of stuck, and there's nothing you can really do. But I especially like this moment where all the guys realize that they're the only guys left. And that is very funny to me, although Tom wasn't part of it. I forgot Tom was still there because it was 3 without Tom.
But Tom he's
funny.
wandering. He's just, he's a floater. He doesn't really have an allegiance to anybody. The guys realizing that they're quote unquote outnumbered by what, 1? And you get that, Ivor is a misogynist. That dude's a dick. Because he's like, we've come to the conclusion that the traitors must be women. It's like, based on what? You could be a traitor. The guy sitting next to you could be a traitor. This is not like, just because you're playing the law of averages and like using statistics. I think there's one more girl than there is guys. Like, but no one knows.
I think it's because they got 2 guys out already and they were both traitors. That's what he's thinking.
Oh,
it's not it's not completely flawed, but coming from Ivor, I agree.
Coming from Ivor.
He's been going after he has voted for one guy the entire time, and I think it was Boston Rob when he was already going to go. He already had a foot out the door at that point.
Yeah.
Other than that, he goes after the girls every time. So yeah, I agree with you.
He's a dickbag. I don't like Ivor at all.
No.
But like we've discussed, multiple times, the coffin, that's the nail in Ciara's coffin, is this fucking coffin, because I don't think anybody at the table knows. I think everybody at the table is a chicken with their head cut off, trying to figure it out. Sam's reasoning makes the most sense if you don't know what else to pick, because he's like, let's just put it to bed, guys. Like, we'll get rid of her. The way he made it sound is like, either way, we can at least move on from this. I'm like, can't we take a time out and use some other evidence than the coffin thing? Like, it's way too obvious The
I
fact that you
just
guys have
don't
been
think.
discussing it. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I just don't think that they have any other evidence. That's what I'm saying. Like the
No, I
Faithfuls are
agree.
playing such a bad game that they're not trying. They could have potentially, and look, this could have been an editing thing. Who knows? But even if he sat there and said the way that Carolyn answered that question this morning, it was a little suspect. Let's talk about that. That's all you have to do. Like throw something else out there. And of course, this is the only time. And there have been grumblings about talking about Boston Rob, talking about Bob the Drag Queen, talking about Wes, whoever it may have been. Every time it's been a split vote, but for whatever reason, it just seemed like everybody was on the same page with let's get rid of this fucking theory. If it works, incredible. And if it doesn't, we still have no theories. We have nothing to go off of. So we're still stuck, but at least we can stop talking about this theory. And I feel like nobody had anything better to say. So that's what happened. And it was just a pure onslaught. There was nothing that Ciara could have done to defend herself. You can't even point the finger at Britney. You can't point the finger at Danielle, the other two names that were being spoken of, just because no one is going to hear it. That nobody knows what the answer is. Like you said, nobody knows the truth. Nobody has anything to go off of other than this stupid coffin theory because they haven't gotten any other theories since then. They're just stuck. And there's just nothing she could have done. So it was tough to watch. It was actually a pretty boring roundtable because we already knew what was going to happen.
But, again, statistically speaking, because Tom breaks it down for us.
Oh, yeah.
Historically, girls are better cheaters than guys because they have better social status. I mean, traitors.
Sure.
I mean, traitors.
Mm-hmm.
That was
a
Freudian
did I say
slip.
cheaters? I didn't mean that.
I didn't mean that at all. I will say his cleanup job was kind of funny. He's like, I know men are more likely to cheat. Trust me. And I was like, okay, a little self-awareness. But then
I love
when Ciara jumps in, she's like, she goes, oh, we know Tom. He's like, stop. Like, stop though. You stop that now.
I just love the little side comment. I think it was Gabby from the other side of the room. Oh, we should just vote Tom out just for saying that. Like,
yeah, right.
That's funny. That would have been better to go off of. But then you know what? And again, we would have come back to the goddamn coffins next week and we wouldn't be able to move past this. So from a viewer standpoint, even though, we got a great moment in the dollhouse and we get a great moment after this, which is just insanity. But this roundtable, I'm okay with it being boring because they need to move on. They need to figure something else out and get back to this. Otherwise, they'd just be stuck on it. But voting people out for making cheater comments would be very funny.
That would be hilarious. I would be on board for that because it would just make me laugh. But Ciara's biggest flaw in this game is just being
herself,
too strong.
Yeah.
Like being too sure of herself. Speaking up for herself, defending herself. I don't know, and I don't know why that became something to hone in on.
Yeah.
Like, why was that such a shocking thing for her to say when she's laying in a coffin? I'm fucking coming for you.
Just like be truthful. And look, if they were truthful and just said what Sam said and everybody else just agreed, we have to put this to bed. Unfortunately, if you're a faithful, that really sucks. But we have nothing. We just don't know what to do right now, and we're not going to agree. So it could just be everybody vote for whoever they want to. Let's just see what happens. Somebody's going to go home. That could be fun. I'd actually like that. A little randomization would be fun.
Based on this group of faithfuls, they have a better shot of getting a traitor out by winging it than they do by using their logic.
That's a really good point.
Never works. So maybe go against the grain. Yeah, dude, it's tough. That was a tough round table to watch because you just knew there's no plan. You guys don't know what's going on. There's nothing to do. And Ciara's going to get killed, and that sucks or banished, or whatever. But we get to the aftermath, and everyone realizes, like Sam literally goes, "Whew, I played that one really wrong." It's like, yeah, bro, you fucking did. You did. And also because you've been this silent figure for so long and all of a sudden you're confident and coming up with these wild theories that make sense to people, they're going to listen to you. God damn it. Fucking Sam. He went so high and so low in one episode with me. I was like, whoop, whoop, back to where you were. See you,
It was just a reminder that Sam was there, honestly. For the most part,
really,
you just kind of forget he's there. The fact that him and Ivor have lasted this long, I guess because they're just so unassuming.
They're
and
so
like
irrelevant.
to us, the viewer, we're like, yeah, Ivor's annoying because he only talks about voting women out. And I just have no idea what he's doing.
Ciara, like, I think you were easily manipulated by Boston Rob. It's like, all right, bro, fuck you. Like, he's just a dick. I really don't like him.
Yeah. No, the whole thing is just very fucking funny. But again, there's nothing they can do here. And you can see Dylan's distraught. He feels like
he's
he played it
rattled.
wrong. He said that's the only time that he's voted and didn't think that the person was actually a traitor. He just wanted to go with the crew.
Yeah.
I get it. Like, again, there's nothing you can do in that situation without, you vote for somebody randomly. You're going to put a target on your back. Just go with the flow at that point. There's nothing else that you can do. And now they have nothing. They have zero to go off of. So they're probably going to go after Britney next week. Whatever. That would be stupid too. Unless, again, something happens, because it seems like something happens every day that we have to talk about. So maybe somebody will show their hand, faithful or traitor. I don't know who it is, but somebody's going to say something stupid next week.
I think the fact, because we get, obviously afterwards, everyone's trying to figure out where they went wrong. Who do we look at next? Because like you just said, because there's no plan of attack now, everyone's back to square one. But I will say this. I think that this was an important roundtable to change the way they approach things, because that was kind of you hope, but Dylan seems to have some kind of epiphany after realizing he went with the popular vote and felt like a dick after the fact. So he's starting to think a little bit more outside of his normal thinking, and that's proven with how he's talking about Danielle, because he comes in and sits next to her at one point. I notice all of her other body language, like the tears, obviously, the over talking, the over offering of comments here and there. What I didn't notice was the shaking.
Yeah.
And Dylan's like, maybe the shaking is throwing me for a loop. Maybe that's not actually real. And he starts to hone in on Danielle. Now, what I could see happening, what I would love to see happening, because Carolyn's pretty tight with most of the people there, except for Danielle and by proxy now Britney.
Yeah.
I could see Dylan going to Carolyn, Carolyn being like, we can roll with this because Danielle's been brought up before. Carolyn can go talk shit about Danielle because Danielle's been caught talking shit about her. So it's not retaliatory. It's not revenge. It's just, so it could be seen as her just going after her because she felt like she was getting attacked. So that protects her. And I think she can rally other troops. She could potentially get Danielle out, because we're going to talk about the turret in a second. I think after that, that should be her sole focus.
Yeah, I agree.
But there's a path there. The path
There
is through Dylan.
Yeah, there is a path there. It's through Dylan. Dylan's the only, like you said in the beginning of the episode, he's one of the only traitor, or the only faithfuls that you could look at and say he's trying to play a good game. He seems to be on to something. So hopefully that is the path, because you can't go through any of the other idiots. They're just not going to get it. It's not going to work. I don't really know what's going to happen, what he's going to do. I mean, at this point, his boy was Boston Rob. I mean, at this point, he feels like he's a lost puppy. So
hey, they're still boys. They golf.
They are still boys. They golf, but Rob is dead in this universe. So look, maybe he's just going to go out on a limb. Maybe he's going to do something that he hasn't done so far, and he's going to lead the charge, and it's going to work out really well, and that's going to look good on him. I hope, for the love of God, we need somebody to step up. We need somebody to show up as a strong player, because it looks like, and again, Carolyn is, I still can't wrap my head around it. Is she playing a good game, or is she just put in this position because of Danielle and Boston Rob and then Bob the Drag Queen the entire time? Either way, it's working for her. No one's playing a good game. Nobody's a strong player left. So if somebody could step up and do it, that would be great for TV at least.
No, I think Carolyn's doing a good job, because she realized early that her voice isn't being heard. So instead of fighting that, she's like, all right, I'm just going to step back and let you guys run this. And so when shit falls apart, fingers are going to be pointed somewhere, but they're not going to be pointed at me, because my reactions are genuine every morning, because that's not the person I wanted to go. So
who knows what's going to happen, because we have to talk about the turret. So
yeah, let's talk about the turret.
Yeah.
Dude, what a disaster, bro. Like, Danielle is to anybody thinking that she's playing a good game, I don't understand your logic, because once again, we're in the turret and they're talking about who to kill. Alan comes in and says, you have the choice. We can either murder or use seduction, and that is to bring in another traitor. It's up to you. Now, the rules being, if you go try to seduce somebody and bring them onto the team and they say no, now you also can't murder somebody. So now you don't have a traitor, and there's somebody in the house. So that's the risk you run by trying to seduce somebody and bring them onto the team. Now, as they're discussing it, obviously, we know who Danielle wants, Britney. So she has her pal there. And this is why I think Carolyn has been playing a good game. And when push comes to shove, she's like, absolutely not. No, I'm not bringing your bestie in here so you guys can turn on me, get rid of me, and now I'm out. And we have heard this speech in different ways from Danielle in every single turret. She starts
Mhm.
going on this rant about, oh my God, no, we're in this together. It's a sisterhood. She says sisterhood. I'm like, you've tried
Yep.
to kill this woman 3 times. Shut
Mhm.
up with sisterhood. And I love that Carolyn didn't bite at all. Why would you? That's the stupidest defense from Danielle ever. And I don't understand. Are you playing this game to make friends? Like, did you not have friends growing up? Is that what this is about? I don't understand what this need to appease the faithful is. Fucking kill Britney. Who cares?
I
Get rid
think
of her.
that she, for whatever reason, she thinks that maybe it's just like guilty conscience. Maybe she thinks I went after Carolyn. She's going to take some shot at me at some point. It's not going to be nice. It's not going to be good. And look, I think that again, if she just stepped off of Carolyn and just played the game as a traitor, we wouldn't have this issue. But she has it in the back of her head that she wants to burn Carolyn, and this is her best opportunity to do it. The problem is, why would she think that Carolyn would want to go along with this? It doesn't
I
make
don't
any
know.
sense. And as much as I want to see them recruit somebody else to be a traitor, because that's what makes this show really good, I agree with Carolyn. You have to take a shot to kill somebody. You have to
Yes.
get rid of somebody. And look, if you're going to bring on a traitor, the talk of the house right now, for the most part, is all the guys are getting together saying it has to be a woman. It has to be a woman. Even some of the girls are saying it. So why would you not bring on a guy, one of the guys that maybe you can trust, see if they'll come on, because they're just going to jump at the opportunity to be a traitor at this point because they're lost and they have no theories to go off of and they're stuck. Bring them on and then kill them immediately. And you don't
Yep.
have to say anything. Now, I'm sure it gets disclosed that there's another traitor in the house and they have to talk about it or whatever. But that would be the opportunity to add somebody, is adding one of the guys. Don't do anything else. Don't bring Britney on because there's already a target on your backs because you guys are so chummy. Everybody already thinks that Britney's a traitor. The last 2 roundtables have been people going after Britney. Why would you bring Britney on? It just doesn't make any sense. It's just
Because she's your friend.
Danielle just trying to run the turret. And you know for a fact, as soon as she brings on Britney, she'll burn Carolyn, and then her and Britney can go until the end, and then she'll probably burn Britney.
1000%. That's what I think. Now, before
Yeah.
we wrap this up, who would you bring on?
I would honestly bring on. I thought that Dylan was the right call, but I don't know if Dylan would actually accept it. I think that Dylan would actually say no. I would. I don't know. Tom would be really funny. I always come back to that though.
I don't think it can be Tom.
Tom as a traitor would just be hilarious.
It would be fun to watch. I just don't
It
think
was
that's
so
conducive
fun
to
to
your
watch.
gameplay.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not
Sam,
conducive to the gameplay.
I can see Sam being a decent choice. You got to pick a dude just to throw the scent off since everyone's talking about it being girls now.
Yeah, I agree with that. But like, it's either Sam or Dylan. But either one of them could say no. I mean, that's the other thing that you have to think about when you do this. Because if they say no, then they know that they were recruited. They can come back in the morning, say, "Hey, I was recruited to be a traitor," and then everybody's going to start thinking. If it's Brittany, by the way, because you don't know who it is, it's not like Danielle and Carolyn are going to walk up to Brittany and say, "Hey, do you want to be a traitor?" You send them a letter, and they read the letter and say, "Yes, I want to be a traitor," or "No." If Brittany
Right.
gets recruited and comes in the next morning and says, "Yeah, I was recruited to be a traitor," everybody's going to look at Danielle. So
Correct.
obviously, that would be stupid. So the whole thing's a nightmare. It's just stupid. They have to kill somebody. They can't bring anybody on, which sucks.
I agree. But I look again, is the gameplay frustrating at times? Absolutely. The show is great. The show is fantastic. It's so
Yeah.
entertaining. It's just from a gameplay standpoint, I wish we
Mhm.
had more strategy happening.
But what do you say we get to some questions here to wrap this bad boy up?
This is not the first time I've seen this from Cara Miriam Woods. Okay, hear me out. Dylan and Ciara. This has been talked about. You're not
What,
the only one to bring
relationship
this up.
ones?
Yeah, other people have mentioned this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'd
I mean,
ship
I
them.
don't know. I don't hate it, but I don't think it happened.
I'd ship them.
This is bad from JJ the Alaskan. Are you from Alaska? That's cool. For next season, what males from Bravo would you want to see cast?
Look, VPR needs some work, so maybe you throw Tom Schwartz in there. He would be
Schwartz
funny
would
to
be
watch.
funny. He would be funny. Austin,
Yeah.
Summer House. Jesus, Southern Charm. Austin would be interesting.
Maybe a house husband of some kind. I saw like a list recently There was a couple of house husbands in there. I didn't agree with any of them. It was like Joe Gorga. Like, no, I
No.
don't want. I
Oh
don't
my
want
God,
Joe in
dude, Justin from
there.
Roslick would be
Yeah, that'd be
fucking funny. Or one of
Yeah,
the
that'd be
Salt
really
Lake
funny.
husbands would be really funny to see them
That
stand
would be
alone.
great.
I
Yeah.
think one of those guys would be my choice, and you can pick and choose whomever you'd like from Real Housewives of Salt Lake. I
Yeah.
think would be the right one.
From Honda accordingly, would Dolores make a great traitor?
Yeah, I think that the
I
traitors
think she
are
would.
underestimating Dolo. I really do.
Yeah.
I think the fact that they're both like, she can't do this. I'm like, you guys must not watch the show because she would
Yeah.
be.
They
She'd
were
be great
worried
at
that she
this.
was gonna say no to them, is what I got. Which
Yeah,
obviously you take
no,
that
dude, I
possibility, but I don't think she would say no.
think she'd be a great addition to the team.
Yeah. From Jay Somolowski 26. Do you ever wish we didn't know who the traitors were and were playing along at home? I think I've thought about this before. I think it would make it so difficult to play this, to watch
It'd
the
be
game.
hard to follow.
It would be really hard to follow. I get the premise of it, but I think production wise, it would be impossible for us to actually follow along.
It'd be tough. That would be tough. And I'm gonna lump in a bunch of these because these are all Tom centric. From Maggie Justice, is it just me or is Sandoval incredibly entertaining? Bad person, good character. From Bridget J, not a Q, but this episode made me forget why we were ever mad at Tom Sandoval. Yep, I think we can all see that. And then the last one is this, because no. From Lord Tennant, did this episode make you go out and buy tickets to see Tom's band? You couldn't give us free tickets to go see him. And guess what?
No.
We got free tickets to go see him, and we didn't fucking go see him. Absolutely not. That
Yeah, no chance.
bad karaoke band, like, I'm good. This is the perfect
No
amount of
chance,
Sandoval
brother.
right now. I didn't know he
Yeah.
was going to be this entertaining, but this is enough for me. Just keep doing this for a while, then I don't have to see him again. Perfect.
Perfect.
But yeah, I love this show. I would
a great
like some
show.
more strategy next week. Would make me happy, and I think
Yeah,
we're getting there.
Let's hope. Let's hope
yeah.
for it.
But you got anything else?
Nope.
Well, that's our show. Bros gotta go.
Bye.
Yo.